Judgment.
Final Judgment. Final
Welcome in, everybody, to a miraculous day here. If you are a Philadelphia Eagle fan, listen, if you're just an NFL fan, you have to be feeling really, really good today from a tremendous week of football, capped off by two tremendous Monday Night Football games last night. Obviously, this is the Final Judgment here. I am your host, Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. Make sure you give me a follow at Cutillo23. Follow the show, please, at Judge Jigsaw on Instagram, on Twitter, always powered by Heat Ratio and Win Daily Sports. Make sure you're following those two accounts you see on the bottom of the screen right there as well. Win Daily Sports for all your prop and models and DFS and fantasy football advice. Heat Ratio Sports for everything when it comes to a sports audience, and obviously at Judge Jigsaw, so you can get all this show, whether it be on podcast, whether it be live video, whether it be clips, whether interviews. There's a lot going on. As always, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor right there, SEO Brand. Go a little more on that mid-show, SEObrand.com. Make sure you're giving them a follow. Check out their website. Some tremendous things over there. I'll have more info on those guys very, very shortly. Listen, a tremendous night. We have multiple judgments today. You said you know how to do the show. It's your first time listening. We do judgments, okay? Because this is called the Final Judgment, so we can put some verdicts on these judgments. And I think Jalen Hurts put judgment to everybody and laid his verdict down single-handedly last night. When we talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, him and Darius Slay, are they for real? That will be judgment number one. In the world of baseball, Aaron Judge is doing the unthinkable. He's doing the unthinkable, chasing that MLB Triple Crown. We've seen it before, but right now in the clean era, after the whole steroid era, and now that, we are in the clean baseball era, it is something that, obviously we need to watch and keep an eye on. So, will he get it? That'll be judgment number two. Then we have a bunch of random judgments. A little NFL rewind in week 2, because there were some remarkable performances, some unsung heroes. Let's talk about obviously wicked weather events. So, you see what's going on in Puerto Rico right now with Hurricane Fiona. I mean, I'm getting a little worried about these wicked weather events. The longer we go through global warming, the more, concerned I am about these events. And again, Kelly Clarkson getting the, I'm a music guy, right? Kelly Clarkson getting that gold star Hall of Fame, on Hollywood, American Idol. Does anybody even watch American Idol anymore? But does she get the credit she deserves? And then we'll do a little Jigsaw's Chronicles here on electric scooters, because as everybody knows, my man Jose checking in says, "What's up, Tony? How you feeling, brother? Hope for a speedy recovery." Yeah, Jose, it's going to be long and lengthy, man. It's going to be long and lengthy. Unfortunately, I got some bad news. Looks like I may have ruptured my Achilles, which I was not expecting. So right now, I can't put no weight on my leg. This is it. This is kind of like my vent session. So anybody tuning in, I much appreciate it. Trust me, I'd much rather be somewhere else right now. This isn't the kind of vacation that you want. But I'll get there. Could be worse. What I will say is, luckily, that you get a big support system. I had a couple people checking in on the show, Win Daily last night, that were like, "Hey, man, how's the leg going?" It's really cool. Got Jose checking in, Adam checking in. A lot of cool things when you do this kind of stuff, right? Obviously, this is a passion of mine. I enjoy doing it, and monetarily that comes second nature. But at the end of the day, it is nice that people actually give a shit, right? So, but my daughter said something to me last night, because listen, I'm gonna be straight honest with you, real quick, man. This scares me to death. I've never, ever had surgery before in my life, ever. Honestly, 44 years old, never had surgery. I'm hoping that I don't need surgery, but we don't know. I have to wait for MRI. But, I'm scared, man. It's something freaking me out. It's not something I've ever dealt with. I mean, when you can't walk and you can't use one of your legs, a lot of other things start to hurt, man. Your other hip hurts, your other foot hurts. It's not fun. And I start to get really frustrated. And my daughter, who's 22, she was like, "Look, Dad, honestly, think about it. I know it sucks and it is frustrating, but it's something that's fixable. It could be your heart, it could be your brain, right?" So, I mean, sometimes it takes one of your kids to put it all in focus. So, shout out to my girl T for doing that and helping me get back on track, because it is plays mental games with your mind for sure. And if anybody's ever been injured out there, whether it's tough. That's all I got to say. It's tough. But I appreciate everybody reaching out. Seriously. Now let's get into this, man. Honestly, let's get into the Monday night action. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not see this coming. I thought the Eagles would win the game, but I didn't think they would win it as easily as they did. It's almost like Minnesota got kicked in the mouth. And this is let's say this real fast. Minnesota got kicked in the mouth, right? So Philadelphia went to Detroit last week, got kicked in the mouth. And Philadelphia took that kick and they kicked back and they came back and won the game. Kirk Cousins showed again why he is, in my opinion, the softest player in the NFL, where they got kicked in the mouth. And not only did they get kicked in the mouth, they couldn't kick back at all. We just kicked them again and again and again. And what a coming out party on national television, for Jalen Hurts. Good for him, man. Good for him. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I try to stay off of Twitter during the Eagles games. I really do, because there's so much nonsense that goes on the timelines out there, with people trying, clickbait, trying to get clicks. If I get in there and I got the robotic tweeter out there saying, "Hey, look, so and so scored. Hey, look, this person did," it's ridiculous. And there's one person, I won't name my names out there, but was killing Jalen Hurts on Sunday. All he wanted to do was talk about Carson Wentz, how good Carson Wentz is, and how many touchdowns Carson Wentz throws, and how many times. Listen, Jalen Hurts can't make that throw. Oh, look at Carson Wentz. Look at Carson Wentz. And then what do they do? Because what that is, that's to get clicks. That's to get everybody talking, right? That's to get everybody quote tweeting his account. That's for everybody to start jumping on him a little bit. Now, oh, who is this guy? Oh, look at this guy. Oh, look at this guy. He's confrontational. He's this and that. It's all a game, man. It's all a game, because then on Monday night, that same person, what they're doing is they're sitting there and propping up Jalen Hurts. Well, talk about the biggest frauds. So many frauds in this world. I can't stand it. That's what gets me the name Jigsaw, because the frauds are ridiculous. Dude, stop. Just delete your account, please. Okay. At the end of the day, if you can be cautious. Somebody tweeted to me and say, "Hey, it's okay to be cautious." Yes, I have no problem with that. If you came into this year saying, "You know what? I don't know if Jalen can do it. I hope he can. I just have, I have some cautious optimism here." That's fine. I'm good with that. It's the cats that came out specifically last year, killed Jalen Hurts, said he'll never be an NFL quarterback. He'll never be able to manage a team. He'll never be a franchise guy. They're the dudes I can't stand. You know why? Because they're the same dudes now. All of a sudden, they're jumping on the Philly bandwagon. The people that love the Hurts supporters, now all of a sudden they're a supporter. Man, stop. It's so ridiculous. It is. It's so ridiculous. And now that's why this business really sucks sometimes. Okay. Because that's what you see. You get these people with these, incredulous follows over something that's absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I try to stay off the line during the games. I just want to watch the game. And what I did last night, just watching the game, I saw a young quarterback in Jalen Hurts just show what we all knew. Okay. Maybe you doubted his ability, but one thing you can never doubt is his leadership and his work ethic. Troy Aikman laid claim to that during the broadcast. I've laid claim to this over the last year, over the last 2 years about Jalen Hurts, about him facing adversity consistently, and about him, coming through and looking good and put more work than probably anybody on that team, just because that's the way he is. And it showed, man. I mean, this is what happens. Listen, you don't get to this room. Okay, what I mean by that, the quarterback room, you don't get to this room without being able to play the position. You may not be to the next level of that position, but you get to this point by being able to play this position. Look at some of the performances around the NFL. I ask this all the time from some of the quarterbacks. Do you want Davis Mills? I'm just asking. You want Davis Mills? You want Matty Ice? You want Matt Ryan? Right? Come on, man. Let's think about this. I even said it. I said, I don't know if Jalen could ever win a Super Bowl. I don't know. And honestly, my expectation of that is still, I'm still tempering that. But what I saw last night was a kid, because he's still a kid, who showed the will and the drive to make his team succeed. And I think that's what has to really be taken into perspective here. That's the most important part. Ivan says, big Vikings win at home, followed by a big loss to the Eagles the following week is becoming a trend. I'll be honest with you, Ivan, and honestly, I know Ivan's a Vikings fan. And listen, you say what you want about the Vikings, they're a good team. Okay, they're a good team. And listen, they're not going to lose the rest of they're not going to lose out, and they're not going to be done. What I can say though is what we did to them, it's got to be a confidence killer a little bit. So they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. First year head coach, I get it, right? No big deal. Okay, they'll get back on the wagon. Justin Jefferson will not go 5-1-7. That's 5 targets, 1 catch for 7 yards. Again, it's not going to happen. They just have to get a different game plan. And I'm not sure what Donatell was doing with the defense, because I mean, the Eagles were basically doing anything they wanted on the field, and they have a really good defense. And again, a really good defense. And I think possibly what could have happened there is, maybe Sirianni and Steichen actually outsmarted Donatell, which, that's odd, because he's a veteran in the defensive coordinator game. So learning from one of the greats in Vic Fangio. So, I mean, it was very, very different. But listen, what we've learned in this NFL early season, we're going to this NFL rewind really soon, is these primetime games, whether it be Thursday night, Monday night, Sunday night, get some weird performances by certain players, right? I mean, look at Buffalo, right? Everybody thinks, me included, guys like Isaiah McKenzie's going to step up, or Jamison Crowder's going to step up. And here comes Reggie Gillum out of nowhere. Right? Kyle Juszczyk the other day scoring a couple of touchdowns, right? Out of nowhere. There's just so many, it's all about game script, right? It's all about game script. So that's what makes it so exciting. You just never know what's going to happen. And I think that's why the NFL has been so strong this year in only 2 weeks. Adam says Hurts looked great with his throws and took control of the game and led the team. He was going through his reads. And again, you saw it last night. For all the people that have been doubting the amount of times that Jalen Hurts runs, and we're consistently saying, hey, Jalen's taking off too early, what you saw last night with a very decent linebacking core, mind you, okay, very decent linebacking core for the Minnesota Vikings, was they played off because they weren't sure, right? They weren't sure. And then when he ran a couple times, what did they do? They played in. What did that do? That opened up the middle of the field. Again. That's why Goddard was getting so open. A.J. Brown was hitting those slants. Devontae Smith finally getting in the action. And then you have that long touchdown to Quez Watkins. I mean, this is what happens when you have a running quarterback, at least a threat. Now, he's not going to be able to run all the time, but again, what he's been able to do is keep those defenses off their game. And again, there's going to be a team that comes along and they're going to make Jalen Hurts in the pocket. They're going to collapse the pocket and they're going to make him beat him from the pocket, right? But again, until then, enjoy, and then we'll see if he takes that next step. But when you have an elite offensive line, that's that's giving you. That's the thing, man. 2.7 seconds last year. I come back to this. Chris Franklin from NJ.com was on with me in the preseason. If you go to the Final Judgement on YouTube, you can check that full interview out. Great interview. Great beat writer at C Franklin News. If you're not following him, make sure you do. I retweet a ton of his work. I love his articles. I love his candor. He was very gracious to come on. Gracious to come on again midseason. Very, very busy. And the first thing he said was, I didn't know this. And you saw it last night. Jalen Hurts had the most time in the pocket untouched than any other quarterback in the NFL. An average of almost 3 seconds. That's elite territory. That's why that line is elite. And that's going to be the driver. You win the games at the line. And speaking of line, Jonathan Gannon, for all the people that killed Jonathan Gannon, you heard me. I specifically said, I'm not going to kill the guy yet. I hope he changes it up a little bit, but we don't know what that Detroit game plan was really going to be. But he had timely blitzes, 2 of 10. 2 of 10 Kirk Cousins was in those timely blitzes. And they got to him early and often. That's the way you beat Kirk Cousins. You get into his head, right? You get into his head. And that was the thing. And how much more can we say about Darius Slay? How much more can we have? I mean, look at this right here. It's from John Clark. This is Darius. It says this Darius Slay's locker at the winning. He showed a picture of his locker room. It had the 2 footballs for the 2 picks, and it had a jersey from the Minnesota Vikings. But it says ties a career high with 2 interceptions and a career high 5 pass defended. Only 2 other Eagles have done these things in a game over the last 23 years. Lito Shepherd and Troy Vincent. I mean, listen, man. For all you people and a lot of the national media that said Big Play Slay was done, right? He lost a step. He went one-on-one with a top 2 receiver in the NFL and completely shut him down. He didn't have help. You understand that, right? He didn't have help. That was old school Jalen Ramsey territory right there, is what he was able to do. That was old school Jalen Ramsey territory. Trevor checking in. Yes, absolutely. Lito Shepherd, Florida Gators, great. Listen, what he was able to do, I can't tell you how amazing it was. Jigsaw, did you see Lions Twitter hating on Matt Patricia? No. Yo, Trevor, tell me what is Lions Twitter talking about with Matt Patricia? I'd love to hear about it. Obviously former head coach. So Trevor will hook us up. Make sure you're following Trevor, the Upper Bowl podcast as well. Him and his boys always doing great things every single week. Yeah, listen, now we go to the Commanders, right? Now for trading Darius Slay. Yeah, okay. I keep forgetting he was the coach when we were able to trade for Darius Slay. And again, a lot of those lines, when you get a big play player like Big Play Slay, and he gets to the twilight of his career, kind of like when they think he's past his prime, and they figure, you know what, we're not going to win for the next couple of years, so let's get some pieces back. That's what they do. But man, dude still can play, man. Dude still can play. He gets it done. They just got it done in a big, big way. So that's huge. That's huge. You need that lockdown corner. Bradbury doing his thing. Avonte Maddox. I'll tell you what. Avonte Maddox had a tremendous game last night. Okay, he did. Because guess what? He was in charge of that slot. And until the end of the game, Adam Thielen wasn't getting anything. Okay? Adam Thielen wasn't getting anything. So, and shout out to TJ Edwards as well. Making plays. I know Irv Smith caught the touchdown and he had that wide open. Listen, that's a different game if he catches that pass. Okay. It's a different game, but he didn't. Okay. And he showed that he is Irv Smith and he's not Tony Gonzalez. And at the end of the day, after that, they were trying to target him a lot. And TJ Edwards was one-on-one coverage with him, was just shutting him down. So shout out TJ Edwards, as always, another unsung hero of that defense. So again, we're going to go to Commanders. Okay, we're going to travel to Washington and see what our old boy Clarkson Wentz is going to do next week. But all in all, listen, 2-0, Jalen Hurts. I'll read you this stat too. Jalen Hurts of the Eagles is the first player in NFL history to throw 300 plus yards, complete 80 plus % of his passes, and rush for multiple touchdowns in a single game. Listen, this was the Mike Vick coming out party that we remember, right? I have to say it's exactly what it was. It's the Michael Vick coming out party. This was a guy that could not be stopped. So kudos to Jalen Hurts. Everybody that wants to all of a sudden be all in on Jalen when they were off of Jalen, please delete your Twitter account because I'm getting tired of hearing about you because we don't want you on this wagon. You don't deserve to be a wheel on this wagon. Go hide, go delete your account, go back and hiding and come out next year. Okay. Because I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anything about you anymore. Adam says Kaiser White was all over the field. Kaiser White, again, I keep telling you, number 43 is all over. There's a reason why they signed him. Howie had a tremendous offseason, and it has continued. It's playing out on the field. It is. It's playing out on the field for everybody to see. It's been great. Trevor says, was that performance the best Eagles quarterback has had on Monday? Man, except it's going to be close, Adam. I mean, Trevor, it's going to be close. I mean, between that Monday night first quarter game with Chip Kelly and Washington Redskins and Michael Vick, between those two performances, I mean, both of them, you pick your poison, whatever you want, but they were both pretty historic. Matt checking in, he says, then you got Redskins at Redskins. Years past, this would be a tight win or slip spot for the Eagles, not this year. How about my Dolphins? I'm glad you said that, Matt. We're going to get to that NFL rewind just in a minute. Adam says James Harden was sitting in front of me. Look at that. Adam had Fear the Beard in front of him. Who gets one of the balls from Darius Slay. It was nice to see the love out there. And yeah, look, can I give a couple shout outs? Number one, listen, I know Bryce Harper was there, and you had Bradley Cooper there, you had James Harden there, but I want to give a shout out to Travis Kelce for not only being there, but sitting with the general population. What is Jason Kelce jersey on? What is shades on? Going to Xfinity Live, being part of the people, man. That's a Philly kind of guy. I'll tell you what, man. I'm digging some Travis Kelce, man. I am. That dude, he gets it. He gets it. He's a real one, man. He is a real one. Trevor says Travis Kelce to the Eagles. Listen, man, I'm not saying all that. All I'm saying is, I like when athletes don't have an ego and they can actually go and just be one of the people, and that's what he did last night. And coming from an opposing team and sitting in the Philadelphia stands, good for him, man. I like that. I would love to see it. Trevor says, Dolphins, your boy was producing that wild one Sunday. Yeah, we're talking about Tua. Trevor says, give me that 87 Kelce jersey for the Eagles. Yo, wait, you mean 87 still available? We didn't retire from Todd Pinkston? Todd Pinkston, Hall of Famer at the receiver position, right? Number 87. Come on, Trev. We can't give that up. Nah, I'm just kidding. So yeah, listen, tremendous win. Let's not beat it up. We talked long enough about it. Jalen Hurts taking it to the next level, defense next level. Listen, 2-0, man. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. I mean, quite possibly, if this continues, you could be looking at two teams that played on Monday night that meet in Arizona, which that would be Buffalo and Philadelphia. And what a great matchup that would be. That would be really, really interesting. Brent Selleck is on the line. It's on line one. Yeah, because you got Brent Selleck as well. So that 87 passing around, man, for the Philadelphia Eagles. But let's get the NFL rewind right here because we had a fantastic week of football. Joe Flacco, elite level performance. Amazing. Can you write the script anymore for Cleveland? Can you write the script anymore? Yeah, Cleveland, gives up the lead. And man, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm pissed. But Joe Flacco beat you, man. He's a veteran of the game. He goes in and Joe Flacco took the DeLorean and came back from 2012. Trevor says, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. But Matt checking in, talking about his Dolphins, man. Listen, I've always, just like the Jalen train, I've always been on the Tua train. People don't like Tua. I like Tua. I do. I don't think he's cocky. I don't think he's arrogant. I think he has the will to win, and he knows his limitations as a quarterback, and he works on them hard. And what a difference when you go out and you get a playmaking wide receiver. And that's the lesson to all you GMs out there. We dealt with it in Philadelphia for so long where Joe Banner didn't want to spend any money. He finally brings T.O. in, gives him a bullshit contract. We know how that ends, but you saw the magic that him and Donovan were able to produce. And then you have Tyreek Hill comes over and you just show what he's able to do for that offense. No lie, the Tyreek Hill pass pressure this week was the best. I didn't see it, Trev. I didn't see it. I'll have to look that up though when we get over. So I know he's a very charismatic individual. So should be great. Adam says too, got the weapons like Hurts does this year. And again, listen, when you have guys like Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and you got a guy like Chase Edmonds that's able to come out of the backfield and catch balls, and listen, Cedric Wilson plays a nice slot. He really does, and he gives you speed as well. And then Mike Gesicki's a really tall target. PSU's own, man. Exactly. Mike Gesicki showing up. I mean, there's a lot of good pieces out there in Miami on that offensive side of the ball, and you see how explosive they were, right? And not only Miami, but how about Baltimore? How about Lamar Jackson just showing up and balling out? I can't believe. I mean, we were talking about this in fantasy. Like he was 10% owned. That's it, 10% owned. And Jared Kings, everybody passed him up. He just went out and put an electric performance on it and led that Baltimore team a tremendous win. And Matt says McDaniel on the sideline, always looking to win. After the third quarter, he had team huddled and firing up big. I love McDaniel. Right? Listen. Here's the thing, man. When you get these young coaches, right? You get these young coaches that learn. That's what's important, right? That's what's important because the retreads and shout out. Talk about retread. Shout out to Doug Peterson. Even though I'm not the Doug guy, what he's going to do in Jacksonville would just give those guys confidence. From that terrible year they had out there with the guy who I'm not going to mention his name, who likes to hang out in college bars and do the dirty a little bit. But what I'm saying is, I just love when you take a guy from the ranks of a very good offensive system, you give him a shot on the sideline. And we're seeing it all. We're seeing it with McDaniel. We're seeing it with Kevin O'Connell. You saw it with Kevin Stefanski. You saw it with McVay, right? No disrespect to Dennis Allen out there in New Orleans, but that's why I'm not a big fan of these retreads. I like the new style of coaches, even though, listen, even in Philadelphia with Nick Sirianni, these are new guys up and coming. They relate more to the players, even though Doug P is kind of special. He's got that Andy Reid-esque about him where he's a player's coach. These young guys, the reason why these teams get so electric, right? And this started, remember, this started a long time ago. Honestly, I think we could say this started with Mike Tomlin. When Mike Tomlin was hired, very, very young guy to be hired, was never, anything higher than a coach on a sideline, and he becomes head coach of a team. And for my money, the best coach in the NFL when we talk about making game day decisions, controlling a locker room, and getting the best out of his players. That's what you're seeing out here with these young guys. And I think it's great, man. Mike McDaniel, Matt, you got something special out there, man. You do. Kudos to you because Miami's been down for a long time. I remember when the David Wannstedt experiment, right? I mean, we remember these experiments out there in Miami that just never worked. And I hope for you guys that McDaniel does work because I'm tired of the Patriots. I would love to see that AFC East just be taken by the Miami Dolphins and go ahead one day. I really, really do. I'm glad that the Patriots, I think we all like to hate on the Patriots. Right, we all like, but that's what we do, right? I mean, at the end of the day, because we all hate on people that win. Now obviously you got to contend with the Buffalo Bills, who are probably going to go to the Super Bowl this year, but knowing that you're sitting at 2-0 in a division, in the AFC East, tied with the Buffalo Bills. And here's the thing, That the best part about that is, you're only 10 points in the column behind the Buffalo Bills. That shows how good your offense is being. That's because of Mike McDaniel. Right? That's because of Mike McDaniel, and that's a huge deal. Mike McDaniel's is fun to cover. That's Trevor's out there covering it for Odyssey out there. So, he says, can they flex Dolphins Bills to Sunday Night Football, please? That would be great. That would be great because we need that, man. The flex thing is spectacular. That's what we always need. We need that, right? But you look at the NFL right now, thinking about the surprises, looking in the AOC, everybody was all in on these Las Vegas Raiders, right? Everybody was in on the Raiders. And I told everybody, you can't just grab a bunch of pieces, throw them out there and just hope that they stick, right? So, Derek Carr to me, listen, man, I don't know. Is he that dude? Everybody just thought because of Devontae Adams, he was going to listen, man. That's not always the way it works, man. It's not always the way it works. So Tennessee, I think, is disappointing at 0-2. Jacksonville, we talked about it. Jacksonville was going to be that surprise. Doug's going to have them play, but let me get you guys, your opinion on this. Because I've been going back and forth. Again, make sure you're following Heat Ratio Sports. Make sure you're following Win Daily Sports. Every Saturday from 5 to 8, Win Daily Show on Sirius XM. We have a Jigsaw hour. We got Jason and Sia talking it up. We taking callers. And for months leading up to that, me and Jason and Sia were going back and forth. Producer Josh talking about the Russell Wilson experiment. And talking about, is it going to be what we think? And again, for me, for my money, even though everybody's down Russell Wilson, he still won the game. But there's something going on out there. Listen, I think Nathaniel Hackett is trying to just do too much. He's just trying to do too much. And what Nathaniel Hackett is learning, see if you guys agree with this. For me, what Nathaniel Hackett is learning is he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers, right? So a lot of his play calling out there for those 6 to 7 years at Green Bay, even if he made mistakes, Aaron Rodgers would bail him out. Aaron Rodgers just made that team look great. Russell Wilson, as great as he is not Aaron Rodgers. And when you don't have that caliber of quarterback, your play calling needs to be spot on. And that comes to some of those questionable play calls with those 4th and 1s. We've talked about 3rd and 1s. You saw it last night with Nick Sirianni, 3rd and 1. What's he do? Let me get my 200-pound plus quarterback, the dude who benches 600 pounds, and let me just put him right up the middle behind my offensive line, behind Jason Kelsey, behind Landon Dickerson, behind Lane Johnson, right? I mean, that's all, or Jordan Mailata because it went to the left side. That's all you need to do. Run the ball. And it's amazing what happens. And they try to get too cute. And I think, again, think about those times at Green Bay. They were a huge 4th and 1 shotgun team. But you had Aaron Rodgers. You don't have Aaron Rodgers, Nathaniel. You don't have him. You have Russ now. Little different style quarterback. So I think for me, for my money, I think that's the most important thing when you look at that and you say, I think Denver is going to be okay. I know they're dealing with some injuries right now, which sucks. But I think they're going to be okay. The thing about it is sometimes we watch this in baseball, and this is a good prelude to the Aaron Judge talk we're going to get into in a second. But we've watched this before in baseball play out with guys like Greg Maddox, guys like Tom Glavine, who, and I say them specifically because I watched them a ton in the NL East here in Philadelphia. And as they lost velocity on their pitches, what they were able to do is learn how to paint the black, right? Learn how to be a finesse style pitcher and make sure that they call their shots, so to speak. And they couldn't rely on that 95, 96 mile an hour heater. So they had to rely on ball placement more than anything. And I think that's what you're going to see with Russell Wilson, where he's going to have to rely on that accuracy. But right now he's still learning that system out there and knowing that he's not going to be the Russ of old. But again, that's not that big of a deal when you win the game. The throw that he made to win the game, they still won the game. That's what you have. So you have to understand that if some of those play callings are different, we're not really talking about let's challenge Russ here, right? So we got to give that some time. Okay, we got to give that some time. I keep saying week 6, week 7 is kind of where we got to give some time. But speaking of time, again, go check out SEObrand.com. And the reason why I say that is I think every single one of us probably run a YouTube page. We probably have a website. We probably have social media accounts, obviously. And right now it's all about analytics. You're always wondering, like, where do my followers come from and where does my traffic come from? How do I build traffic? SEO, search engine optimization, is exactly where it's at. And these guys, man, been doing it for 15 plus years. They continue to do it, whether you're a small business, whether you're a big guy, whether you're a low guy, doesn't matter. Everybody wants to know where the results are coming from and how to get bigger results. And these guys can make that happen. So make sure you go follow at SEObrand.com. And when you go there and you get a free consultation, make sure you tell them that Judge Jigsaw sent you and that you saw the ad on this show on the Final Judgment. So let's talk about Aaron Judge. And I'm going to throw this up there right now because, again, Triple Crown Watch. Right now, this is straight from MLB.com. You're talking about he's right there in average at 316, 59 home runs, 127 RBIs. I know we were all talking about Shohei Ohtani, right? Last year, everything stopped. Obviously, right now we have the 700 watts with Albert Pujols. A lot of exciting things going on in Major League Baseball right now. But I think this is one of the most exciting because this is going to be one of those deals where, all the people that have talked about the steroid era. And speaking of the steroid era, got some pretty cool. I'll throw this out there right now. Next week, I got a different show, getting some interviews. So right here, intentional bulk, right? Baseball's thin line between innovation and cheating. Daniel Levette will be on with me, hopefully on Thursday. And a lot of good stuff in that book, talking about the steroid era, talking about cheating in baseball. So, and again, I'm a proponent of the steroid era in the sense that I let them all in. It is what it is. We'll get on that topic another day, but I'll be able to ask Dan some of these questions as well. And the reason why I bring it up is because this is your first player that's not being questioned now. He's going for the Triple Crown. And, and he's light years ahead. He's must-see TV. He really is. And again, a guy batting second in the lineup, first in the lineup. I mean, it's ridiculous. A guy batting at the top of the order to be able to do what he's doing right now. Just to give you an idea, like we have Schwarber in Philadelphia that's approaching that 40 home run barrier. I think he has like 82 RBIs. Aaron Judge has 127. Which means he's just not home run or nothing. That's why he's batting 316 and Kyle Schwarber's batting 213. That's the difference between just a power hitter or a complete player. This is why you remember in the 90s, Larry Walker had those tremendous years. He was a complete player. Gary Sheffield, complete player. Manny Ramirez, complete player. Guy, we mentioned it on this show, guys that could hit for average and power at the same time. So a lot of cool things right there. When we talk about the Triple Crown, I want to know, do you think he gets it? I do. I think he's going to hit it. I think he's going to hit the Triple Crown. I really do. And I think it's going to be exciting for everybody to watch. I mean, listen, it's again, you had a couple weeks, about 10 days, 12 to 16 games for most MLB teams left in the season here. Does he get it? Does Pujols get the 700? Going to be interesting. It really is going to be interesting. Again, make sure you're following at Heat Ratio Sports, at Win Daily Sports on all social formats. Make sure you're following at Judge Jigsaw on Instagram and Twitter as well for all the show information. And let's get into some random judgments before we get out of here. And I like this. Okay. I like random judgments. And the reason why I do that is because you just never know where you're going to go. So my question to you is, is anybody else besides me infatuated with weather? Like, I think I missed my calling to be a meteorologist. I love watching the weather. I love watching the maps. I love watching these storms hit. Obviously, hoping everybody is safe. That's first and foremost. But just watching it form, watching that eye in the sky, and then seeing it make landfall and understanding how it all works. It's fascinating to me. And I watch things on it all the time. And right now, you got Hurricane Fiona in Puerto Rico causing mass devastation. Prayers go out to everybody out there as they took out the grid, flooding everywhere. I mean, people being rescued. My thing is, like, I keep saying, I hate to say it, I'm not one of those people, but like, number one, are you concerned about these wicked weather events? Because I really am. They're just getting worse. I mean, with global warming being at its peak, and you're seeing all the melting going on, and with the glaciers in Antarctica, and seeing these Indian hot summers, right? And and you're talking about winters that are below zero, the Arctic freeze. Now we're talking about a triple layer La Nina coming. I mean, all these different terms, cyclone, battle cyclone, and like I don't even remember any of these terms growing up. It was just, is it going to rain? Is it going to be windy? Is it going to snow? Now there's so many things that we have to think about, and I'll tell you what, man, it's scary. It's scary. I am legitimately scared about where we're heading as a world when it comes to weather, because I've said this all the time. There's two people that are undefeated. That's Father Time and Mother Nature, right? Father Time cannot be defeated. Mother Nature cannot be defeated. One of the biggest forces in the world is water. Something that happens and you can't stop. You just can't stop. And it concerns me. It does. It concerns me, as a whole, as a country. It concerns me as a state. It concerns me just as a living being about where this weather is coming from and how it continues to be fueled by the global warming trend. And it just seems to not be getting any better. So again, prayers out to Hurricane Fiona. But I just want to know, is it just me? Let me know. Is anybody else concerned about the weather? And how about, in the news, I'm a big music guy. Kelly Clarkson gets her star on the Hall and Walk of Fame out there in Hollywood, joined by Randy and Simon and Paula. The very first winner of American Idol. And now it's like 20 plus years later, and it's still going strong. I don't know if anybody still watches it, right? I'm curious. Does anybody out there still watch American Idol? Because obviously all these other shows like The Voice came out of that and things of that nature. And it's not like everybody from these shows goes on and gets this lucrative deal or lucrative career. I mean, remember guys like Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard and what happened to Fantasia Barrino. I'm thinking of, in my mind, I'm just off script here thinking of the names. I mean, obviously Carrie Underwood is probably the best, and it shows what you can do if you're found. But Kelly Clarkson, I think, is very underrated. I'm a big music guy. When she came out and sung Respect by Aretha Franklin for, In Order to Win, talking about a moment like this moment in time, which was the winning song when she won there. It was her and Justin. Remember Kelly and Justin? Remember that movie, Kelly and Justin? But Kelly Clarkson, she's up there, man. She's in she's in that Madonna territory. She's in that Pink territory where these remarkable performers. And I don't think she gets enough credit. I don't. I think that people just keep forgetting about Kelly Clarkson, right? She has changed genres over and over again. I mean, has her prime time show on network TV. It's gone through a lot of adversity with weight, with sexuality, with marriage, a lot of stuff that's well documented, unfortunately, but that's what happens when you're a star. She doesn't let any of it phase her. She just goes out there and completely rocks the mic. I remember I think it was the AMAs from like 2-3 years ago. She came out and did a medley. Was unbelievable. I'm a big fan of the medleys. Love the medleys when these stars come out and do that. I think it's memorable for performances. I was just watching the BET one, or Soul Train one of Ashanti the other night while I was laid up in bed. So I love those kind of medleys. So keep them coming as well. But again, Kelly Clarkson, underrated in my opinion, as that musical star. And last thing I want to get into before we get out of here is let's do a little Jigsaw Chronicle here about electric scooters. What I'm learning right now, because right now I am in a walking boot. Um, I've been given a prognosis of 12 to 24 weeks, which I'm praying it's 12 and not 24. But listen, I can't put any weight on my legs. So if I were to go out, and very limited, I still have to go to doctor's appointments. I still have to, do things like that. So if I have to go and get a script and I can't go through a drive-through, and I have my crutches and I need a one of those electric scooters that go about 2 miles an hour, man, I'll tell you, I have a whole new respect for people that use those scooters. I used one the other day, and number one, I didn't know if I was going to make it up the hill because the thing was so slow. But I went to one store, didn't have it. I had to sit in the car. I couldn't go in. Went to another store and they were out. And then you get these people that probably don't need it. now that I notice, I never even thought about. There's just people that don't need it that are riding around because they're just lazy and they don't want to walk. And that's the kind of society we live in nowadays, unfortunately. And people like me who actually need it can't get one, which kind of sucks. But shout out to BJ's, right? Not the real BJ's, not the, no pun intended, but I go in there and again, I have to get a bunch of stuff because listen, I'm relegated to down here. It sucks, but huge basket. The lady comes out, she comes in my car, she rides it to my car and gives it to me. I'm able to get in there, get what I need in the basket, rolling around. Everybody's staring at me, looking like, what is this dude doing in this? Right. I got this gigantic RoboCop boot on. But the thing about these scooters is what I want to ask is, what I'm learning is please do me a favor. If you see somebody in a scooter, let's try not to cause a traffic jam. Like so many people were like boxing me in, and then it's going to come back to the lunch meat counter. But I'm at the lunch meat counter, like yelling my order over, and people are like boxing me in to where like I couldn't even move in my cart. Like you see, I got two crutches laying out of it. I got the cart there. I got a freaking horn, and everybody's just like looking at me. Like I don't understand people and their etiquette when they're inside a store. It's brutal, to be honest with you. It's absolutely brutal. But one thing, they are a lifesaver. I'll tell you, I never thought anything about them, but for me right now, absolute lifesaver. That's all I can say. So shout out to all the stores that have scooters that are motorized and ready to go. With that, we're going to get out of here. It is a Tuesday morning. I decide we usually go Monday nights, but listen, great football game. I figured, let's go Tuesday morning. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube page, man. The most important thing, if you like the content and you want to continue to support me on this venture, this solo venture, listen, I'm still part of a lot of teams. I just, you know what? Tony got tired of hearing no from a lot of people and got tired of hearing people on shows who we felt, no disrespect to them, that maybe he was just as good or maybe better. I've been doing this a long time. And so I finally decided, you know what? I'm just going to create my own and we're going to go from there. And that's where I'm at. So make sure you do me a favor. All the support you can give would be tremendous. Got a lot of good guests lined up. Like I said, I'm going to have Daniel on with me, hopefully for Thursday. I'm trying to get US Charles Golden from USA Today back, get on with me about the Chiefs for next week. So go to the YouTube page. All you got to do is search The Final Judgment. That's it. The Final Judgment with Tony Cutillo. You go on podcast, subscribe to the podcast. Please give me a rating, 5-star if you like it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to @Judge Jigsaw on all the social media accounts. As always, powered by Heat Ratio Sports and Win Daily Sports, where you can get all your sports needs and all your sports betting and DFS needs as well. And shout out to the flagship sponsor of the show, SEObrand.com, for coming through, for giving you all your digital marketing needs, whether you're big or small. Remember, go check them out, SEObrand.com. They have a plan for you. So as always, like I say on this show, everybody, I'm gonna stay. I definitely am staying safe because I can't go anywhere. I'm staying as healthy as I can be. I hope you guys stay as healthy as you can be. But again, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the great weather out there. As I'm sitting in the chair, hopefully you're walking around getting your cardio and you're being able to enjoy what nature has been giving us right now for this fantastic fall. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. And again, we'll catch you back here next time.
Doing it for the love.